My name is Bobby. Guys, today I want to talk about why I converted to Judaism, finally. Shabbat Shalom. You know, I come from an Orthodox Christian family, then I accepted Islam, but now I had to accept Judaism as the ultimate truth. I looked into it and it just makes sense. You know, the Quran claims that Allah needs no rest. In Judaism, however, in Genesis, we do find that God creates the world and then he needs to rest on the sixth day. And that just makes so much more sense to me, you know, because as humans we need rest, and therefore it is just so much more relatable if God needs rest as well. Moreover, God is displayed as well in the Old Testament as somebody that comes down and wrestles with Jacob. And I personally like to wrestle too. I like to do jiu-jitsu, martial arts. And therefore it just makes sense as well that God would like that too, you know? So yeah, this anthropomorphism that you can find within Judaism is just so much more sensical. And this is one of the main reasons, if not the main reason, why I accepted Judaism ultimately. But what I really disliked about Islam is the pure monotheism, the so-called Tawheed, that God is only one and he is the only one that needs to be worshipped. Yeah, man, really not my cup of tea, you know. So the descriptions of God in the Old Testament are much more henotheistic. For example, there's a passage where it states that Yahweh is the God amongst gods. And that makes just much more sense to me as well, because if there is one God, you have to have a couple of other gods as well, so the Jewish God can appear superior to the other gods. I think that just makes perfect sense, you know. And then moreover, when we speak about the Jewish God, the ethnocentrism, this is what I really appreciate about Judaism. The clear distinction that Yahweh is the God of the Israelites and that the Israelites are the chosen ones and that the rest of the nations are Goyim, so that the rest of the nations, the Gentiles, are essentially spiritually inferior. You can look that up in the Talmud, for example, that the Goyim is essentially like cattle, and that the soul of the Goyim, if he has one at all, let's be honest here, is absolutely inferior to the Jewish soul as well. Islam claims, on the other hand, that Muhammad has been sent as a mercy to mankind, so it's a very universalist religion. Ultimately, everybody can accept it. But let's be honest here, this is just not how the world works. The world is elitist, ultimately. We see that we have structures everywhere. We have almost a caste system, if you will. The elite is up there, and then the rest, the plebs, the peasants. And therefore, I find it only right that God would have a hierarchy as well.